you and I always talk about this offline. We talked about how to set goals and plan of action and how to implement those goals and in relation to your passion and your purpose. Obviously, that's kind of encompasses everything we do. We were talking yesterday about the roadblocks, right? So you have a goal, you implement them, and then there's various roadblocks that come up and how to navigate around those. And one thing that stood out to me, and I know you'll go in depth more about the various roadblocks, but one thing that really stood out to me was the internal roadblocks and how to get out of your own way, and your mind creating these roadblocks and how to navigate around them.
Well, yeah, I mean, I call them roadblocks, but they're basically barriers. They're just obstructions. And so when we're trying to reach goals, there's so many things that can push us away from meeting those goals. But I would say every single one of them it's internal. It's not outside. So nobody gets in your way. People who get in your way, you let them either get in your way. But the biggest thing that gets in your way is your internal processes, your thinking. So you have this idea in your heart that you really feel this, but then your mind starts to say, put doubt in there. I can't do it, or I don't want to do it, but I could do it yesterday, and I might worry about what kind of emotions I'm feeling. So the first one I would say is feelings. Biggest roadblock. It doesn't matter how you feel. Feelings are just, they float. They come and they go. They're just feelings. They're just states of being. And they're in your mind, so feelings should not influence your behavior. You can feel good or you can feel bad, and you could still do the same thing. You could still be excellent.
Still need
right? Right. Because you could feel good because you just wake up and not feeling as positive as usual.
Yeah.
Or you could wake up and you're feeling overly positive. So you're not going to wait till you feel good to be able to work on your goals. You're going to work on them every single day. All right? And so one of the things that we talked about was where these thoughts come from, right? And so anything that's good, any idea that's going to be productive is a cognition. It's a thought. It's coming from you. It's contemplative. It's going to be about your goals and about how to reach your goals. Those are the thoughts that you like. You embrace them. Anything that's coming as a doubt comes from your imagination. Everybody thinks your imagination is good. It's not so good because we imagine either one of two things. What all of this is going to get us and all the attention we can get from it, or we're going to imagine what happens if we're not successful, if we fail. Either one is not good.
Is there a difference between vision and imagination?
Yeah, vision is just understanding your goals. Vision is, okay, I got this goal, that goal, and it's like more process orientation. Mm-hmm. Imagination is just coming up with these scenarios in which you get stuck in because of the way you feel. They make you feel good or bad. So you're saying, oh man, my God, people are going to notice me. I'm going to get accolades for this. I'm going to make a lot of money doing this. But none of what we're doing has anything to do with this. We're doing this because, number one, for ourselves, to help us process things and become better. Right. And number two, to kind of help everybody else that needs some ideas of how to do things. So imagination, no, we're not imagining things that are real. We have vision for things that are real because there's a process to making them happen. So imagination, it's going to happen or not. So anything that happens, if we fail, we know we're going to fail sometimes. Mm-hmm. So if that makes us feel bad, so what? Just go do what we're going to do. But don't come up with these scenarios that hinder you, that go, I'm not going to try because what happens if nobody likes my podcast? Mm-hmm. What happens if nobody likes my art? What happens if I'm not successful as a coach? That has nothing to do with it.
You feel like everything's crumbling down.
Right. And so you start to feel bad about yourself, and that hinders. Or you go, man, if you get numbers orientated, let's say you try to lose weight like I did, and you don't lose any weight. And you're going, oh my God, this isn't working. And so people were right. So, you know what's the point? But the point is, it's a process. You might not lose weight, but your body might change. You might be gaining more muscle. So there's all different ways to look at things. But imagination is never good. You don't ever want to get too high and too low because you feel. If you win a game, we're not concerned with winning the game. We're concerned about getting ready to win the next game. Yeah, we're happy. We'll jump up and down for a while. But then we get back to work. Same thing with goals. That's what vision does for you. Yeah, this was just a piece of what I want to do. Piece of what I want to do. And so if you have a life of excellence, Russ, then even when you get to the end of that particular piece, so you win a championship, you have a successful program with running your art, you're still, it's not that you're not satisfied, but you're looking for the next thing. You're looking for the next thing to sustain your life, because that's what your passion is. So your passion is not a beginning of an end to it. It doesn't end until you die. You follow what I'm saying? Then your passion goes away, and all your gifts are going to be counted up whether you use them correctly or not. And that's going to be your legacy, what you left for people. So when we're talking about imagination and roadblocks, it's thinking. It's just like, what am I thinking about? Am I sitting here going, yeah, man, I look good, I'm running a bike, I just want to race, or I can't do this, you know what, my wife's mad at me, you know what I mean, I can't find my sweatpants, so I'm not going to go out. No. We're not doing that, and we don't need, so that's one roadblock, okay? And that would be our cognitions, the way we think. We don't have to think positive, we just have to think visionary. I got a vision, this is what I want, and today's process means I got to go out and run, I got to go out and get my art ready, I got to be able to practice, and I don't care how I feel or how you feel. Okay? Right. About what I'm doing. So that means that comes to the next one. That's just people in your life that can get in the way. Okay? And sometimes it's difficult because you can't just throw everybody overboard, especially if you love them. So like your wife, your spouse, your kids can get in the way of things, right? They might not like what you're doing. Oh, you're doing that? What are you doing that for? That's a waste of time. Well, guess what? You know what? If I wanted your approval, I'd submit my form. But until then, I'm going to do what I need to do because I need to do it for me, right? And so you can't throw her overboard, and she might not be happy with it, but that's okay. It's irrelevant. Right? They'll come to understand. Just like when she does stuff, I have to.
And there's a moment of enlightenment when they're like, oh, now I see.
Right. The moment of enlightenment comes, when they see that you're successful and that you get joy out of doing what you're doing. And so you don't throw them overboard, but what I call them is they get tidal wave. These people that are in your life that you love. So they have no choice. The wave is coming. All right, I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm going to continue to process and work out on my goal of trying to motivate and help people and inspire. And that's coming, no matter what you say. You don't like my videos? You don't like my posts? Okay, that's irrelevant to what I'm doing because I'm still doing them because I get good feedback about them. It makes me happy, so I'm going to do them. And so the wave's coming. So your wave's coming and it's going to affect you because you're a part of me. So you're going to get hit by this wave in some fashion. So grab a surfboard.
And hard the first time, right?
Right. It's going to be hard, but you grab a surfboard and you get up there and you surf along. You go, I don't know why this guy's got me on my wave, but wait a minute. I like this. This is fun. I'm on the wave. This is all right. I don't have to know the wave, but I'm on the wave. Okay, good. Or you could not get on the wave and then you can get wet. Either way, I don't care. Okay, so it's not like about I need everybody's approval or I'm trying to get accolades or I need you to like validate what I'm doing because I don't.
You didn't ask for it.
No, and then you could be married to me. I could love you to death, and I'm still going to love you. And guess what? You can, I could be not happy with you because of the way you think about what I'm doing, but that's irrelevant. I'm still going to take care of you. I'm still going to love you. I'm still going to do what I need to do because that's my job. This is what I'm doing. If you really want to know what it is, then listen to the podcast, and then you'll understand what I'm trying to do, and talk to people that get feedback that like what I'm doing, just like coaching. I said, but other than that, what you think about it, I don't need to hear about it. Okay? Because anything you're telling me about what you think is more about you than it is about me, because I like what I'm doing. I don't need your approval. I don't need anybody's approval. I think God likes what I'm doing, so I do it.
And it feels good, so
it feels good.
You're on the right track. When
it feels good because I know that it's inspiring. So whenever I get something to inspire, whenever I can create something that I think is beautiful or has some value to others, that's what I want to do. Right? And whatever comes my way as a result, it's fantastic, but it's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking to do what I've been here and what my purpose is. Just like any other sort of being that's running around. Whatever.
Now, you go into that without intention. So you don't really have, you have a vision, you have a goal, but I don't want to set an intention for myself because I'm going to let what comes come.
So I'm trying to understand intention. Do you mean intention, or you mean what? Or so by intention, do you mean
the result,
like the residual results of what we do?
Yes.
Okay, so the goal is the goal because we have passion for it, and the passion itself is the reward. Mm-hmm. Okay, the fact that I have passion, the fact that I'm allowed to use my gifts in this life to inspire and do different things, that's the goal. Okay. So that is intrinsically motivated. That comes from my heart, right? Mm-hmm. So anything extrinsic that happens, what I call residual effects, sort of what you were saying, is intention. So anything residual, whether it's criticism or whether it's accolades, is nothing to do with the vision. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to do more or less based on what somebody says, unless what I'm doing is harmful to other people, unless it's not helping other people, unless it's becoming detrimental. Because whether it affects everybody or one person, then I'm effective in what my passion is. Then it's working, because somebody else is benefiting from me or from you with what we're saying and feeling, and this is all based on experience. Nobody here is perfect. We're working on things too. Yep. And I know with the art, I mean, you can probably relate to this better than I can, as far as like what, and I don't want to throw the question back to you, but I mean, how do you look at that? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, lately, because I'm trying to be more aware of not having an expectation, it feels right? It feels good to create things, to be creative, to put things out there, regardless of how it's going to be perceived, which is always the hardest thing, right? So for me, it's always tough to be vulnerable with your creativity, because everybody's viewing it. You hope everybody views it, and you want everyone to like it, but that's not obviously possible. It might not be their taste, it might not be their style, they wouldn't put it in their house, but it makes you feel good to create it. Not having that expectation of everybody liking it is difficult, but it helps to keep you creating, keep me on my goal, keep me on track. But that's a roadblock of my own.
Well, I think that a part of what you're saying can be a roadblock, but I think that it depends where. When we mention critics, right? Mm-hmm. Critics are people that are either hindering us or helping us. So are we going to listen, if we are going into an exercise program, are we going to listen to somebody who's going to give us advice about exercise, and who's sitting on the couch, who's overweight, and you're sitting there eating a Twinkie? Are you going to listen to that guy tell you how to be healthy? So he can criticize me all he wants, but I just don't, I don't want to make fun of him, but I'm not listening to that guy. So it depends on who the critics are. So if this person is good at something, is even better than me, and has a lot of value that I can respect, and he has something to say that's critical of what I'm doing, I am emphatically going to listen, because he has tremendous amount of value, and what he says is going to be relevant to what I'm doing. And there are people that are motivated because, hey, listen, you know what? I'm a perfectionist in art, and I want you to get this right, because I want you to learn. I want you to get better. The same thing with me, with my coaching, or with anything that I'm doing. And then there's others that are going to be critical of you for the roadblock reasons, because they want to make you feel bad. They want to stop you from what you're doing. You know what I mean? You can do a tremendous thing. You can win 5 championships. Somebody's going to say something about that. They're going to say, yeah, but he doesn't do this. Right. But he's tough on his players. Well, that's irrelevant. Right. But somebody else is going to say, you know what, man, maybe there's some things that we could change about your coaching style that might help, that might prepare the players better for college. Maybe you could try more man-to-man defense, because they play man-to-man defense. If that's coming from a coach, a high school coach that's relevant to me, that gets players into college, I'm listening. I'm going to do that. Right. I'm going to say, okay, I got to play man-to-man, because these kids need to learn that to go play in high school and then go play in college. Right. So anything that's coming from,
it's in line with
the goals. That's a part of what I need to improve. And so what I'm doing is working. But if what I'm doing is working and it's not preparing the players for their goals, then I'm a failure as a coach, because my goal is to get them to the next level, not to get championships for me.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying? And if that happens, if I get those as a result, that's fine. But those are temporary. What's not temporary is that you help some person go meet their goals down the line. And we've seen that with our Future Stars basketball program and people that went on to play college and all that. And that's what we're preparing them for. So if criticism is coming from somebody that's telling us how to do that and that we're not doing things that we could do a little bit better, I know, like, for one of the things I started emphasizing more in the way I do things is grades and being a good person. And even with parents, coaches are not looking for parents that are really involved. They're looking for kids that are coachable, kids that have good grades, kids that are going to last in their program. And everybody's talented. Because
at that level,
and so and then even if we're not coaching with that goal in mind, and we're coaching so kids could learn to work and learn to improve, that don't go on to play college, well, we still are obligated to help them learn skills that are going to make them good players, but more than anything else, great human beings that learn how to work. So
there's always learning that takes place, and you are always looking for that next level. And you always look back and you look at what you did before, and you can see the progression. I don't know why I did it that way, because this is the way I do it now, right? And then so I look back and I'm like, I look at the things that I want to redo, repaint, go over, but then I look at the process that it took me to get there, right? So it takes that extra step to stop and say, how did I get to that point? Okay, well that point led me to this point here. So it's like a history, right?
Yeah.
It's like a history that you've left behind, and it's your own. And if I can wrap it back around to a mental roadblock, I think that you can get stuck in that history really easy.
Well, you can. And interesting you say this, because I understand what you're saying. And what this is it's sort of like a self-evaluation. So we tend to evaluate ourselves harder than we would other people. So I always said a couple different thoughts come to mind. The first is like in softball. So if a person makes an error, player makes an error, they're mad at themselves. Okay, they're angry at themselves. And sometimes that turns into another mistake, or they don't have a good at bat because of it. So what I tell them is, I ask them, I go, listen, if your teammate right over there, if she made a mistake, what would you say to her? So get it next time. It's no big deal. So why can't you say that to yourself and move on? Right? So that's one thinking. I was talking to John Lynch yesterday, in fact. He called me and he said, you know what? A lot of times when I finish doing events, everybody thinks they're perfect, but I see the little flaws of things that I could have done better. Right, and so I'm looking to improve things, and I'm my biggest critic. And I go, most people don't see the mistakes that you find because you're so fine, that you find yourself because you're so good at it, and you're like an expert on what you actually want to do. Nobody else knows that. So if it's not where you want it to be, and you're being critical of yourself, that's not a bad thing, as long as it becomes a point of growth. And sometimes these things become not roadblocks, but they become challenges, because sometimes you have to level off for a while until you learn that new skill you need. So you have to be patient too with yourself and say, you know what, I can't move forward. I could, but I won't be effective because I'm not teaching them man-to-man defense, let's say. And I have to take the time to learn that myself, be a little bit more efficient at it, and get comfortable to using it. Same thing with like when you have a skill. So there's like a leveling off period where you got to say, okay, well, we're still working towards our goals, but we have to now put this piece in that I didn't expect, because it's a part of what's going to get me to my goal, and ultimately that is helping the kids get to where they want to be, and giving them all the tools they need, or helping them paint or learn a new skill. And at the same time, it makes me more an effective painter, because I kind of like what I'm able to do now. It's a new thing. I could teach that. I'm excited about it.
That's awesome insight, because I think the mentality of most people is that if you're not moving forward, you're moving backward. But being able to stay on a plateau and implement and use what you learned is actually more helpful.
Yeah, and I think that itself, not the ability to not improve. In other words, what I mean is, if you're not constantly evolving and improving, like, so for instance, when I teach college psychology, if I don't learn technology and embrace it, and learn the way the kids learn these days, well, I'm going to become obsolete. They're not going to need me anymore. I'm not going to be effective with them. So you got to constantly be. So that's a roadblock too. The failure to understand and recognize that you need to keep on moving forward, learning, and continue the process. So that's another roadblock. But so two roadblocks that we didn't get to yet that we sort of alluded around them, but are major roadblocks is the lows and highs of what you actually do. Again, back to feelings. So you get stuck in two areas. One, with your accolades and focusing too much on them and looking at them and thinking that you made it, because you haven't made anything, because you're not done yet. Okay, doesn't matter how many trophies you get, nobody knows. Everybody knows you're good. You don't have to tell them. You don't have to keep flirting and everything else. What you need to do is be quiet, get to work, and think about the persons that you need to help tomorrow, today, and right now. And whatever's back there is back there, but it's okay once in a while to go, when you're feeling bad about what you're doing, can I do this? You just go, you're damn right I can, because look what I got behind me. You got nothing but excellence. But I don't have to bring that out and tell everybody, but I know it helps me. Correct. Yeah. And then when you get stuck on failures too much, and you hang your head and you're like, oh my God, we lost this championship. Well, you played in the championship. You got there. You don't get stuck on that. That's an improvement. Your kids played there. You just proved to these kids that they can actually do something. But we didn't win the game. We got there. Yeah. Okay, we got there. We got an experience out of it, and now we know if we could win every time, if you could be successful every single day, well, it wouldn't be any fun. Because don't forget, the other people on the other team are working on goals too, right? And so they're going to make it hard for you to meet your goals, because you got to compete against them. So sometimes you're not going to be able to do it because they're better than you, or they have more skills, or they have a better coach, or they worked harder. So it's not necessarily, it's never going to be, well, we're just not that good. No, you're good. It's just that on this particular day, this team was better, and you got to accept that. But that doesn't mean you fail. Some people are like, I had one person tell me, well, I don't accept second place. Well, you're a fool if that's what you're saying, because the coach told me that. I said, maybe you don't, but what do you tell your kids about this? Second place is no good, even though I worked my heart out for you all season, but we got to this level, but because of you, second place is no good. Well, that's a roadblock. You just put a roadblock in their way, because if I'm playing for you, I'm getting on a different team, because this guy's about himself, and he's telling me after I just gave him everything and we just played the best team. I don't know what you're thinking about, because
and it goes along the lines of learning from them as well, and learning about yourself in that spirit of competition.
Sure. And it tells you, I'm good, but there are things out there I gotta get ready for.
Right.
Because there's some guy 6'8" that can dribble the ball and shoot the ball better than I can, and he's just as quick. Well, I got to figure something out here, man. Abnormality. Somebody like Jason Kelsey, we took that guy for granted, but his athleticism, what he did at the position of center, you can't replace that. And you're seeing that now with what that guy was able to do: run, block, the strength, get out there and get a front, understand reading the defense. That guy is an all-time great,
and that's so long.
Right, and so like you face guys like that, you take them for granted, but you don't know what goes into getting that person like that. He had a passion for playing that position, and what's interesting about him is like, I wonder, like I wish I could interview him, because he had a roadblock built in, like, because his brother is a position player. He gets all the accolades because he's catching balls, he's running around, he's scoring touchdowns, he's Hollywood, you know what I mean? And that's good too, because he has to work just as hard to get that. But I'm sure he's thinking in his mind, well, I'm going to be the best at my position. So these parents that grew them up, I want to know them. I want to go talk to their parents, because I want to know what you told these kids that got them to be able to do that, and how you got them inspired, because they're both Hall of Famers, and and they did it differently. So you can't tell me that they didn't have a conversation going, well, your brother is different. He plays this spot. You could still be at the best at what you're doing, and just be the best center that ever played the game. And that's what happened. And so you got two people in your family. One's the best at this, one's the best at that. And nobody's telling them be like him. He's telling them, you know what? You're not. You're not a squirrel.
Right.
Okay, you're a goat. Be the best goat that you could be. The squirrel's different. Right? You're not going to change into a squirrel. He's a squirrel. He's excellent at what he's doing. You're going to be a goat. So go out there and do whatever.
And you can tell that they have that chemistry that they support each other. So something was instilled in them to make them realize who each other are.
Correct.
And then help each other out at the best to be the best.
That's right, and there must have been this, and it's not like probably Jason Kelsey couldn't be the fullback and catch passes if he wanted to. He probably could, you know. What I mean? But you know, they're sitting in the room and they're talking trash like, I catch the ball, you can't catch me, I'm faster. Yeah, well, you try to get up in front of me and I'll drive you into the end zone. If you and the running back will be running through like you're not even there. That's this is like where that's something where you have that strong mindset about what you're actually doing. And you don't need to validate yourself because you're not doing what this person is able to do. You mesh together. You go, you're a champion, I'm a champion. You follow what I'm saying?
Yep.
There's no like, but. No, you're good at what you're doing.
Right. Yep.
Actually great at what you're doing. You're great at what you're doing. And I think that's the two of us.
Yep.
You follow me? You're great at what you're doing and I'm great at what I do. And I try to be every single time.
It's almost similar because the roadblocks that we talk about, grind and things that come up and things that get in the way, you know that greatness comes with those kind of challenges. I mean, everyday life comes with those challenges, but to be able to discuss them and overcome them and
eventually what happens is you don't even think about a lot of these minor things like what people think about you or how people are reacting to what you're doing.
I do.
But I think, that's something that you can work on. I feel as though, you know what, and it's not even like you don't like me and that makes me feel bad because, listen, I would think everybody wants to be liked, but the reality is that you're not going to be, okay? You're not going to be liked, okay? You're not. You're going to be liked by some people. But here's the thing. So, like, I'm not concerned about that. I am concerned about what people think, but the right people, right? I'm not concerned about what somebody thinks about me that's not going to actually be relevant to me. That's just sort of because whoever's thinking about you, that's not thinking about you in a positive way or in a way that's looking to improve you, you can tell the difference. Well, they're already behind you, so why are you going to look back there? That's a waste of time.
Yeah.
That's the same thing as looking back at the trophies. You just got to look over here, and you're not going to gloat. You're just going to go, I'm not going back there, man. I'm not going back there with these people. I'm not going to do it because they're not aligned with what I'm doing. And you know what? I'm stuck here, and this person here is telling me I got to change, but he wants me to do better. So I'm going to look at him. Can I change? I don't know if I can change. Wait a minute. I look at my stuff. I did excellent things here. I can do this. Go. And I'm doing that right now. I'm doing that right now with a lot of different things. And so it's not just about throwing everybody overboard. It's about becoming the CEO of your life too. So what position do you put people in? And that can change. You could think somebody's relevant to you, but they're not. So you don't have to dislike them, but you just like put them in this position in what's relevant in your life. Right. Where do they fit in? Are they an acquaintance? Are they a good friend? Do they have value for you? And that doesn't mean like you're just being selfish and looking for people, but you're not looking to spend time wasting time on conversations that aren't going to really be productive.
Yeah, and I think you said it best when you said that people, I'm paraphrasing, but there's nobody above you that's going to push you down.
Nope.
They're gonna try to raise you if
there's people that think they're above you, and that could be because of financial stuff, and it could be because they feel like they're better than you. They think they're better than you, but they can't push you down unless you let them. But they become just as insignificant as the guy that's sitting on the couch overweight, trying to get me to listen to him about exercising. Why would I do that? Same thing with a person, and I call these persons narcissistic. So they're persons that have a lot of stuff, whether they acquired it, I don't know how they acquired it, but they assign greatness to things. Well, you put them in the same category. They're irrelevant because they're not trying to help anybody except themselves. So we don't need them either. So I don't really care what kind of car you drive, where you live. You're getting thrown overboard. Goodbye. Get ready. Take your jewelry with you, and we'll see you later. Right? And then again, the other danger of that is people that approach you that have things, that have wealth, but are good people trying to help you. Well, you can't just throw them away because you're intimidated by them either. You have to be like, this person gets it going on. They're a good person. They have a lot of things. They're not flaunting it. They're trying to teach me something. Bring it on, dude. Let's go.
Yeah.
You over there, Mr. Narcissist, Mrs. Narcissist. Goodbye. Have fun in Lululemon. We'll see you next week. You follow what I'm saying? This is the part of me that I don't like coming out again, And I do this.
It's the part that resonates with everybody.
And I do this a little bit more subtly now, but you will know that you've been dismissed. Okay?
And is that so? Is the intent to make sure they know that they've been dismissed, or that's just the result? They feel
no, because I'm not. No, I'm not
so,
looking to punish me because you can't punish a narcissist, and you can't punish. You don't want to punish some guy that's not getting it. These are the people we want to help.
Yeah.
All right. These are the people we want to be able to reach in some fashion or another. Either one of them.
Yeah.
We want to inspire them. Whether we're able to do is on them, right? But in the meantime, their issues don't become my issues. So whatever therapy they need to do, they could go figure it out.
Right.
So therefore, they're thrown off the boat, right? Because they're just not. They're not going to bring the boat down.
Yeah.
Right now, I don't have time to go and work with you, and so maybe we can do that at some point. But for the most part, if you're just a person that's in the world and I meet you and this is how you're approaching me, well, you're getting thrown off the boat. You're not even going to be on the boat. Okay? Hey, I got a lot of money. Can I be on your cruise? No, you can't. This is a cruise for people that get it. And obviously,
you can't buy your way on.
No, so you have to go. And what about you? I want to exercise. I'm sitting down in the chair, and I used to be this and I used to be that. But guess what? You and that guy, you're both in the same puddle. And when you get your ideas together, and you figure out that you really want to do something because of action, then you could come on the boat.
Yeah.
But until then, I don't need you because you want to own the boat and take over the boat, so you can't come on. You're not ready to come on the boat because you'll be in the way because you're not going to work as hard as we need you to work. So get it together, dude.
It's like a crew. It's like a rowboat, man.
That's it.
Everyone's got a row.
Right. Correct. Everybody's got a row, and like, guess what? I'm rowing too with you. And guess what? I'm not perfect. I'm crazy as hell. I got things I'm working on. I'm flawed. I have improvements I need. But guess what? You are not helping me get off the boat, and don't make me say it again. But people that are close to you that sometimes get afraid because they don't understand that you're ready to dive in, and they're not ready to dive in. That's fine, but they get tired of waiting.
Yeah.
Because you're doing it anyway. Guess what? We're going on this roller coaster. You coming? Strap in, and we're gonna go, and there's gonna be a little rough ride here. So get ready, right?
Yeah.
And we do it, we get over it.
Yeah.
But I'm doing it. So the tidal wave effect is when they're just not going to, they're scared, they don't want to get on board. You're not going to throw them overboard because you really love them and they're really good, but they're afraid. So they're going to get hit by the wave.
Yeah, I like that.
So, or you can say, guess what? We can even do this if you want. Here's a life preserver. There's a surfboard, kayak, whatever you want to get in because the wave's coming. So get in the thing and you'll ride on board. You won't understand what's going on. It'll be a little bit tipsy-turvy. You'll see people floating around that I threw out. And then it'll land and you'll be on this beach that's beautiful and you go, this worked, man. This worked. I like the wave.
I see where he was going. Yep.
Now I know why he does this stuff.
And it's usually the same characters that are like
similar characters, characters, same person, same effects, same reasons, same human nature, right? And so I'm a person, as you know, of God, right? So I look at it like this, right? Like Jesus, right? He was around the earth, and he did all these miracles, like healing people, bringing people from the dead, bringing people from with deaf and curing them and everything. And everybody watches this, and everybody's at awe of this because we see this and it's amazing. Everybody. Some people are like, man, I love this guy. He's the best. I want to stay close to him because he can help me. I can get him to help. But some people are resenting of him because he's taking the power away from them. So even though he's doing these miracles, they're still trying to discredit him. They don't care. So if they can do that to him, why would I be offended of what they do to me?
Right, yeah.
If you're going to do that, why would I expect you to treat me the way I'm supposed to? Because it's just the same principle. So it's like, you know what? I don't worry about that. Because, it's not me. It's their own problem. The problem is I'll recognize it and you'll get your ass thrown overboard. Quick. Goodbye. And I've been a little bit subtle about it, but when it comes down to it, you know, you got to understand that, you know, the people that love you and are close to you and that just are afraid or different than people that think they love you, give the facade that they love you, but they're basically subverting you. Subverting what you're doing. I recognize that very quickly, and you don't even get a shot, and you're gone. And because my family, you know, I know they love me, but sometimes not even family members. They got to go too. They got thrown off the boat. I threw half my family off the boat. I don't care.
And I think a lot of people, most people, I think they, you know, you're very cognitive. They don't think enough about what you're doing or trying to accomplish. They don't think that you are putting in that much thought into it.
And that's
you're very thoughtful.
And that's done on purpose.
Yeah.
I don't want them to know that I think this heavy because that's a weapon that I use. I use that to protect myself. I use that to be effective. And then when people come in, they go, "I didn't know that about you."
Right.
Because I didn't want you. Because I didn't want you to. And the thing is, it's also like when you're giving everybody what you know all the time, what you're doing is you're giving ammunition to the enemy. So why do I want them to know what I think about? You're giving that ammunition to them that most of these people that we think love us don't. And eventually they're going to come back at you. And you can test that easy. I test it all the time. You can test it all the time. Say something, if you want to know what's going on, say something bad about somebody and make it up, some fictitious person, and see, and call them somebody and call it your neighbor. It could be Johnny Schmo over there.
Right.
Even though they don't know who your neighbor is, which way.
Right.
This means these people are not trustworthy and they're talking about you. And so like when another thing to understand is when you're in a crowd, say very little, listen and observe, and have an attitude about it. Like I do, like you look at me, like this guy's got a chip on his shoulder. He looks like he could give a shit about me, and they're probably right. So you gotta say things that are gonna make me, and but when you listen, and people that are talking about other people, no good, because they're gossiping, and gossip is just an evil thing. And if they're a roadblock, and if they're gonna gossip about them, they're going to gossip about you when you're not there. So you don't feed them. You don't give them nothing. You just go. So you want to keep them sitting in the chair. The other people I don't talk to, if anybody starts a conversation with me, I don't care who you are, and you go, I wish, you say I wish, get the hell out of here, because you're a dreamer. You're in your imagination. Again, I wish that things were better. Okay. I wish that I had a degree. I wish somebody would pick up that piece of garbage over there. I wish the world was a better place. Good for you. Are you helping in that capacity at all?
Right.
You are not, because you start with wish. I wish. You're putting it on somebody else. Get away from me. Go away until you come back. Well, what can I do? How can I help? Right? So everybody these days, another roadblock is don't tell the temperature. Oh my God, it's hot. Change the temperature. Change it. Affect the temperature. If it's hot, find a way to cool it down. If you don't like the temperature, change your environment. But don't tell me the temperature. I already know that.
Right, and I'm fine with it.
Right. Don't tell me your problems. Like, give me your solutions. Or you come here, you go, hey, this is tough. I'm trying to think about what to do. Okay, you're trying to think. First thing I like about you. Don't tell me wish. Think is different. That means we're trying to find a solution. Right? You're wishing off the boat. Quick, get off, out, because that's going to do nothing.
It's not solving.
The other one is everybody does this one. Is another word. So two importances we can talk about: somebody and nothing. Love those two words. Both are good. Okay, and they're not necessarily roadblocks. Okay, so everybody says, oh my God, somebody should change the channel. Oh my God, why don't somebody move that car? Somebody should vacuum the rug. Oh my God, somebody should turn that radio down.
And when they say it to you, then
somebody.
You're somebody.
Well, be to somebody. Oh, somebody should help that lady. Look at her, she can hardly walk. Somebody ought to help her. Well, how come you're not doing it?
Right.
How about you get off, you go do it, you're somebody, be somebody.
Be somebody.
Don't think about somebody, be somebody. Sit there going, and then usually it's like, I wish somebody would help her. Look at her. I feel so bad for her. Oh my God, she's gonna fall down. You're sitting there, you're watching. Oh, she fell down.
Right.
Look, there's a seagull on her forehead. Somebody should help her. Okay. What use are you? Goodbye. Overboard. Right? Right? So nothing. Nothing. Okay, people go, these are usually for these people that have the wish, which is a wish is your own roadblock because you're in your imagination wishing for things. You know what I mean? This is not Walt Disney. So we're sitting here and we're going, I wish I had a degree. Okay. I wish I had more money. I wish I had a new job. I wish I lived somewhere else. I wish I had a better house.
Yep.
I wish that. Okay, so what are you doing? Nothing.
Nothing about it.
What are you doing? Nothing. Okay, what you do today? Nothing. What's your plan for this? Nothing. Okay, what about tomorrow? You gonna do something tomorrow? What are you doing tomorrow? Anything? Nah, nothing.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
Right.
Where's your goals?
Right.
You wake up in the morning,
Yeah.
now what are you gonna do today? Nothing.
No.
Well, why do I...
Why
where are you going?
Why
So
you
that's
get up?
where we start with people. That doesn't mean they're bad people. How about we replace that with something? Figure out what you want to do. Most people don't know what they want to do. They just know what they want to have.
Right.
So, what do I
yeah.
want to do? I want to do this. I want to actually get a job. I want to be a teacher. I want to be a fireman, a policeman. I want to be an artist. I want to be, at least start with that. And then let's say, okay, what can I do? Where's my process for that? Okay, I know. Well, I don't know. Maybe I can go and talk to somebody about it first. So go talk to Russ about how can I learn art? Where can I learn about art? Or you can talk to me. What should I do if I want to be a police officer? Where should I go? What kind of classes can I take?
Right.
Who can help me? Start with that.
Steps, yeah.
Okay, and then you start with that, and then from there they give you an idea. Well, go talk to this person, or here take this and read this, and take a look. Here's a plan. Oh, good. But it's going to take you time. You're not going to do this overnight. So, start with this, start with that. Look if you can take one course out of a course and all your work, and you got to struggle. You can't quit your job, but start there. Okay, people don't know this, but I did my graduate school, got all my promotions in the police department by studying under a light while people were getting shot and killed and everything else, and I didn't care because I was relentless. I'm studying. Okay. I gotta go. This is gonna be fun. My friends are going to somebody. In my scooter, I go back under the light after it's done, and I loved it.
No kidding.
And then I would go back. Okay, I'm done with this. Now let me go back to this same light, and I had to change the lights because I didn't want everybody knowing where I was sitting because I didn't want to get assassinated. So I'd go to another light and go in the South Bronx and sit under this light and say, okay, I'm looking around. And I'm like, okay, I could study for a while, half an hour. I'm more nervous. I got all these little cards. I wrote everything on. Now I'm studying for my advanced psychology, advanced developmental psychology course. And I'm looking through these cards. I'm like, oh my God. Okay,
On the street
got
of
it. Boom.
Bronx.
Okay, good.
Under a
Okay.
street light.
Listen, whoa, why you come by my scooter? You want me? You got an issue or what? Get away from my scooter, okay? Wait. Okay, close it. Back in.
Wow.
Oh, wait a minute. Somebody got shot. Somebody fell off the fire escape. Okay, let's go do that. Let's figure this out. It's going to be fun. So you better come over here because this person is, this is unique. Okay, let's go deal with it. And then when I got promoted, it changed. So it's not like I just woke up and I had all these things in place. I had to work my tail off for it, grind, and I was throwing people overboard back then.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah, because you were driven, and they were just
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Look, the bird's there, but
and probably a lot more early on in your life.
yeah. Early on, I was more. I would say volatile. You know what I mean? I would say more reactive. I still have that, and I feel like that's a good edge. Because you want people to feel stuff. I mean, I want people to understand. Like you're gonna know. Pretty much, if I want you in my presence, and I'm not that important for people to think about that, but if you are, to me, I am.
Yeah.
So if I'm not thinking,
and everybody should feel that way about themselves,
right? If you're not coming, like if I'm not going to respect like what people say, do, or what they're allowed to do in my presence, then I'm going to lose because they're going to do whatever they want.
Right.
And I want them to understand you can't. That's called a barrier. So you have to put up barriers. And then everybody that fits there that's polite, well, I don't have to worry about that because I know that you're within the thing. And I'm going to do the same thing for you. I'm not going to overstep my boundaries on you and start like pushing you around or trying to insult you or make you feel bad.
Yeah, and I think once you set your own boundaries, you respect other people's
Right,
boundaries.
and that's it. And then it works. And then you go, you're excellent. Like we're sitting here too out of respect for what each other does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's it. And some people don't get that. And I feel, I keep coming back to the same thing, but that becomes a roadblock. I mean, and you got to remember, there is nothing outside of yourself that you need. It's all here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't need other people. You don't need people to love you. I mean, you want that, but I mean, you just need to have that presence, have God in your heart, and then you don't need anybody. You got everything you need, and then you roll, man. And you see who jumps on board. And you see what you attract. You're not trying to go out because listen, if you're out in the world thinking people that asking everybody their opinions on things, and you're going to get run around, man. You're going to get run around, you're going to get spun around, and you're going to take the wrong advice, and you're going to go down the wrong path. And 3 years from now, you're going to go, oh, man, I should have just listened to what I wanted to do.
And it ends up not even being your path.
No.
It's like,
no, you don't want to do it.
It's a mixture of everybody else's direction.
No, you should be a trash man, man. You can draw, but that doesn't do anything. You know what?
Yeah.
Not that that's a bad thing.
No, I know.
That's somebody else's path.
Yeah.
Go do that, okay? But you know what? You want to talk to me about stuff, then you have to have a plan. And I'm not gonna. I mean, I'm not an arrogant person. And it comes off that way sometimes. I'm just real about things. Like I know what I want to do. I know what I want to be around. I don't have a lot of tolerance for weak individuals and their attitudes and their concerns and their weaknesses that are just gonna be basically attacks. So you can go do that to somebody else or send me the videotape, and then I can throw it in the garbage because I'm not gonna listen to you anyway.
Yeah, I know, I mean, and I think one of the things that kind of tie into, and I don't know what your perspective of this is, but, I feel like everybody has those limiting beliefs. Because I always had limiting beliefs. If you have a limiting belief, you're putting limits on what you're going to receive, on what God's going to give you, what the universe is going to give you.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
And I really, like, that's tough to do, but it's really something that I really feel. Like, I can feel that.
Of course, it's tough to do because we want to think that there's some effect that the outside world's going to have on that. No, it's not, man. You just internalize it and you give it over and you get out of the way, man. And then good things happen. And then you show up and you're like, why is this happening to you? I have no idea. But I know what I have to do, and you're not in it, so get out. Understand where these voices are coming from. They're either going to be good or they're going to be evil. And so we nobody's free from that. It's all being, the imagination becomes the work of evil a lot of times because it takes you in different ways, and that's where addictions are formed. So what you're saying makes great sense, and a lot of times the feelings that we get from the outside world make us feel not worthy, and we begin to talk to ourselves. But you're always worthy because we've been created to be loved, and that's happens regardless of what we do. We don't have to earn that. We just have to be here. We can get closer to that if we choose to, or we can move away from it. I do it because I'm so broken. I'm so broken and floored, man. I can't do this by myself, man. I'm so basically, not really where I need to be as a human being. And so I need to turn to that every day. I need to say, okay, man. Because, everybody's this close. Everybody's addicted to something which I don't think you understand. Like, so the idea is maybe not drugs. It could be anything. It could be exercise. It could be praying. You could become addicted to something, and that's fine. And there's things that you need to put limits on, and other things that you don't. Like you can't drink, or you're gonna have a problem. Same thing with drugs. But when you pray, and you begin to like turn to God, then there's no limits on that. And you're not sitting there. You can't be stuck on that either, because that's not what happens. You're just not going to be stuck on but I pray and everything's going to be okay. Right. No, you pray and then you go take action, man. Yeah. So like I used to go into the most horrific things. People talk about 9/11 with me, which it is now. So I'm going to bring that up. I mean, during that time, I prayed every day, and I was fearful and scared, and tired and withdrawn. And my men were the same thing, men and women, and they didn't know what to do. And they turned to me, and I prayed, and I said, you know what? Help me, God. Help me, Lord. Follow me. And then just turned around and went and did what I had to do. And then things started to happen. Because you can't just do, you have to, it's got to be action. There's got to be some good, positive steps that you take that are in line with what your gifts are, man. And if your gifts are leadership, your gifts are motivation, your gifts are art, you got to use your gifts. You can't bury them in the ground because you're afraid, because that's just as bad. It's not, I got one gift and I'm just going to keep it because I'm afraid that I can't do this. No, we're going to spread these gifts out. They're going to light up the whole world, and we're going to continue to improve and do good things, and people will be attracted to you, and those good things will fall into place like it's nothing. And then you go hide. You go back to your cave. Right. And you stay away from whatever's coming next, because you don't want any accolades. You don't want to really be criticized yet. And you come back out in the world, and you get people like that maybe were watching this podcast that don't want to publicly say anything about them, but will find you and say comments. People that find some of the positive posts that I put out there saying it's affected me. Not everybody. There's people out there that saying he's a lunatic. Fine, think I'm a lunatic, man. But I'll tell you, that would be a mistake. And the same thing with you. They think that you're this soft, nice person, but you got a lot of fire in you, man. You got a lot of talent, man. A lot of things that's what attracted me you in the first place.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's
the gifts you have. Yeah. You just and with me, I'm trying to infuse you with some of my fire.
Yeah.
So that you're not being burdened by the rest of the world, and that you can express your gift
and not be affected negatively.
And you deserve it, because you're a good man. And we're not helping each other. I'm not your counselor. I'm your friend, man. You're helping me, man. You know what I mean? There's probably a lot of people that are happy that you're helping me, because I'm a lot less. I'm a lot calmer right now. You know what I mean? So we have a lot of unique experiences together. But the one thing that we do have in common is that we care about people the most, right? So
I think that's what it really comes down to.
Yeah, and I think regardless of who you are, even if you're getting thrown overboard, if you get yourself together after you wash up on wherever you land, and you want to get back on board, we'll let you back on board. Right. But you got to come back on board with the right ideas in mind. Not my ideas, but have a plan.
Yeah.
Don't be a slouch. Don't tell me that you already got it.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Acknowledge that you're learning.
Yeah, and I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
Right. And so you see a lot of people. What happens to them is they have everything, and then all of a sudden they get afflicted with something. So you're this narcissistic rich person, you have everything, and then all of a sudden you find out your time is about to be over because you get afflicted with the disease. Immediately what you do is you start to turn to God right there. You start going, and then a lot of times these people change and they become philanthropists, and they start saying, I should have done this all over. It's sort of like a Christmas Carol. That's a true movie.
Right.
And that's what happens. And so but you don't want to wait for that, man. You don't want to wait for that. You want to do it right now. Right? You want to be as authentic, as giving, as loving as you personally can. But love comes in different forms, man. Person look at you and go, how is this guy possibly loving anybody with the way with his attitude? But I am. Though. Because I care about these kids. I care about people. I'm trying to get us all to do better. And just like you care about me, I care about you. And things for me, like, not easy. Everybody thinks it's easy. It's not so easy.
No, and I think love is a great word for it, because that's why you were talking about being shattered and trying to improve every day, and like trying to keep, like that's part of the process every day. It's a struggle, and I think it comes down to love, like because you love so much that you want to see it every day. You want to see it, you want to see people love, you want to see nature,
Yeah, I don't know if you remember what I told you when we first started working together as coaches and stuff, before I got to know about all your art stuff and all that. If you remember what I said the key to coaching is?
Yeah.
What did I tell you?
it's caring for the kids, taking care of the kids.
So love your kids.
Yep.
You could be I don't need to know a damn thing about basketball. All I have to do is let them know that I love them and they care about me, and they're going to do whatever we need to do.
Yep.
And then I can learn whatever skills I need to teach them.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing.
It's the same thing for art.
The very first thing and the biggest thing that I always talk about.
That's it. People don't understand that. You love your kids, and you don't have to love their parents. You have to love them. And you have to say, okay, what does that mean? It means that I'm going to do everything possible to make you successful. So we're not going to waste time in practice. We're going to work hard. I don't care if we're losing every game. When you come to my practice, you're going to feel like we could be 0-23. We could be 23-0. It's not going to matter. We're going to be true. We're going to work as if we're trying to accomplish something. And they know that, and they know you care about them, and they know their talent level's not there, but you got to convince them that we can get there. And it doesn't matter, because we're not. A person is way more than what their talent level is in a basketball game.
Right.
It's what they can learn as far as working, as far as persevering, as far as being uncomfortable doing something, as far as seeing what's out there in terms of people that could like just run over you because of their talent level, right? And then understanding and watching how people handle that. So, so for instance, knowing that when you're getting beat 25-0 by some powerhouse team, that you got to preserve these kids' emotions, that you can't be one of them. You can't go, okay, now I'm going to press them. They're going to kill you. What you have to say is, okay, I'm going to say, listen, man, try to score 5 points in this quarter. Try to stop this kid here from making 3 shots. You know what I mean? Just try something and start finding a process without being scoreboard oriented to keep them feeling as though they're working towards something. And so there's some salient improvements that we can look at. That's how you love the kids. Because if you're sitting there and you're feeling a little bit, oh my God, these guys, we're losing.
Which we've seen a lot of times with other
you
coaches.
You just don't do that. You don't do that. You just say, you know what, man, let's go and let's battle. A lot of times you battle and you do more than you could expect. And you got to understand, whatever they're feeling, you're feeling it too. Nobody wants to go and get beat up by some team, but you can't be that. You got to be bigger than that for them. You got to be their emotional shelter, where you're finding ways to make them feel good about what's going on. You're not going to say, "Oh, you got to show. We got to do this." That's you feeling. That's ego. You don't need that. You need to find ways that you're going to say, "Listen, we got to get up and come to practice tomorrow. So what can we do better, or what can we do better right now in the fourth quarter
to give us a little
kind of idea that." These teams that we're playing is doing this to just about everybody because they're so good. You follow what I'm saying? And that's an excuse, but you are going to compete against them, and we know where the bar is, and we're not there. We're here, so we can get up here. If by the end of the season, if we get up here, we're not going to be there. We're going to be here.
We'll see them again, and we'll measure.
We'll be here, man. If we get to that point, that's moving up. We're not going like this. We're not going to get desolated and go. We can't do this. We're going to go.
Which you could if you were coached wrong.
If you're coached wrong, you could. And that'll easily happen.
Who
wants to play for that guy? Nobody.
No. Exactly.
You know what I mean? Who wants to go with that guy to war? If everything was easy, we just won all the time, life would be good. So covered a lot of things. I mean, roadblocks, different ways to handle them.
I think the takeaways on how to handle them, and
I mean, the bottom line is, you got to you just got to be resolute. Stay with what you want to do. Have a plan. Have that vision. Don't sit around dreaming. Don't you let your imagination run you down the wrong path, and don't let people interfere with things. I know where the critics are coming from, whether it's valuable or not. That's the real thing, because you people listen to too many voices. Recognize where people are coming from, and recognizing most of what they're doing and what they're criticizing you about is a sign that they can have passion, because they just don't know how to wrap their heads around it. So they want something.
And I think most importantly, the tidal wave is coming.
Tidal wave's coming, man. Regardless
get you board or jump on.
But you're gonna get wet. You're gonna get wet. That's if we love you. And you're not on board. If you don't, we're throwing you off.
Wave is coming.
Wave's coming. All right, man.